Jared Goff. Wow, what a storyline it has become for Jared Goff. Getting to play against your former team in the NFL playoffs is certainly something to talk about. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Jared Goff going up against his former team in the Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff has led the Lions to their first division title since 1993, as the Lions will finally get to host a playoff game. However, the Lions will now have to also play against their former starting quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Will Jared Goff get revenge on the Rams? I don't anticipate that happening. Although I think Jared Goff could indeed play a decent game, I don't think he's going to outplay Matthew Stafford. You guys have to also remember that this is also a revenge game for Matthew Stafford. This is a reunion game for him because Matthew Stafford was the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions from 2009 through 2020, and that he is known as the best quarterback in Lions franchise history. However, Jared Goff has actually led the Detroit Lions to a division title, something that Matthew Stafford has never done with the Detroit Lions. Now, granted, Matthew Stafford already won a Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, and he's been a very good quarterback for the Rams in recent memory. In fact, in 2 of his 3 years as the starter for the LA Rams, he has taken the Rams to the NFL playoffs. Matthew Stafford has been known as one of the better quarterbacks in all of football, and Matthew Stafford makes big-time plays in big-time games. And obviously, we get to see how the trade of Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford played out. It is about the most even trade that anybody could have asked out of the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions. The Los Angeles Rams get their Super Bowl title, while the Detroit Lions get a viable starting quarterback and other draft picks where they could actually build around Jared Goff. You look at this Detroit Lions team, and you have to be very impressed with what Dan Campbell has been able to build up with this roster. You look at the fact that the Detroit Lions have 2 very good running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They're one of the best 1-2 punches in all of football. You also look at the fact that they have Jameson Williams, a pretty good wide receiver, and the fact that they've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's one of the most underrated wide receivers in all of football. Don't forget about the fact that they also got Sam Laporta. Yes, Sam Laporta is injured and he's probably out for the season, but Sam Laporta played a major role in the turnaround of the Detroit Lions. You look at the offensive line that the Lions have, they're also really good up front as well. They've got toughness that a lot of offensive lines don't have in today's NFL. And you look at how Jared Goff has thrived under the elite offensive line that is called the Detroit Lions. Obviously, you look at how Jared Goff at one point was even an MVP candidate for the Lions. Obviously, he's not in the MVP conversation now because he did fall off a little bit to finish the year. But you look at how Jared Goff, he put up good stats. He was able to lead the Detroit Lions to 12 wins, something that they hadn't done since 1991. You look at how the Detroit Lions offense has been on fire and how Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, has played a tremendous role in the turnaround of the Lions offense. As far as whether or not Jared Goff is going to get his revenge on the Los Angeles Rams, like I said, I don't anticipate that to happen. I do think Jared Goff can play a decent game against the Los Angeles Rams. I think Jared Goff is going to throw for a touchdown. Maybe he'll manage the game. Maybe he'll keep it close. And yes, I know the game is at Detroit, but we all know that the Los Angeles Rams are perfectly capable of winning on the road if necessary. Matthew Stafford beat Tom Brady on the road in the playoffs, so obviously beating Tom Brady would be a harder task than beating Jared Goff on the road. We all know that Matthew Stafford has the ability to rise up in big games, and he has the big play ability. Jared Goff, on the other hand, doesn't have that ability. Jared Goff is a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he is not a great quarterback in the National Football League. Matthew Stafford, on the other hand, has the ability to be a great quarterback. Does Matthew Stafford turn over the football too much? Absolutely. But Jared Goff, on the other hand, does not have the big play ability that Matthew Stafford has. So even though Matthew Stafford might make more mistakes, Matthew Stafford has the ability to make more explosive plays in the passing game than Jared Goff. And obviously, without Sam Laporta, the Lions offense is not going to be the same. We all know that Jared Goff is reliant on throwing the ball to the tight end. And when you lose a tight end like Sam Laporta, that is going to hurt your passing game a lot, particularly if you are dependent on throwing the ball to the tight end, which perfectly describes Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff, like I said, he's going to play a decent game, but I think the Los Angeles Rams are going to be able to get some key stops on Jared Goff late in the game. That's going to be the difference. On the other hand, Matthew Stafford is going to make more plays in the fourth quarter than Jared Goff. I think it's going to be a good game throughout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that it's going to be a one-score game, but ultimately the Rams are going to beat the Lions come playoff time because of the fact that the Los Angeles Rams have more playoff experience than the Detroit Lions. You look at how they still got Aaron Donald and they still got Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, three of the main pillars from the Rams Super Bowl run that happened 2 years ago. They still have playoff experience. Yeah, I know the Rams special teams is not good, but they're going to get it together come playoff time. I expect Ethan Evans to come up with some big time punts for the Los Angeles Rams. He's a friend of mine. He's the punter for the Los Angeles Rams. He's had a pretty good year in terms of punting average, in terms of coverage team on special teams, not quite as much, but his coverage team is going to get it together come playoff time. I don't expect the Detroit Lions to have a punt return for a touchdown or anything like that. As long as the Los Angeles Rams do what they're supposed to do on special teams, they're going to be fine. They're going to take care of the football. They're going to run the football effectively with Kyron Williams. And then you look at the receiving game that exists in the Los Angeles Rams offense. I like their weapons a lot. I like Puka Nacua, an underrated wide receiver. They've got Cooper Kupp, who's still a really good wide receiver. And of course, you've got Matthew Stafford slinging the rock. Anytime Matthew Stafford is under center for your franchise, you know he's going to put wide receivers in positions to make big plays in the passing game, because that's what Matthew Stafford is all about. It's not a coincidence that Calvin Johnson broke the single season receiving record under the watch of Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position, and the fact that Cooper Kupp had a career year with Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position. Even though Matthew Stafford might be a turnover machine, he knows how to put players in position to succeed, particularly at wide receiver, which is not something that you could say about Jared Goff. Now, don't get me wrong, Jared Goff is a good quarterback in the NFL. If you had to ask me whether or not Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, I'm going to say yes, but I think the difference in this game is going to be the fourth down attempts, because we all know the Detroit Lions, they love to go for it on fourth down more than any other team in the National Football League. We know that Dan Campbell loves going for that thing on fourth down, and I have news to break to you, Dan Campbell, that stuff is not going to work for you come playoff time. I know they've been incredibly successful on fourth down throughout the regular season, but we know that playoff football is a different animal, and when you have a team that is as aggressive as the Detroit Lions are on fourth down against a team that has a very good defensive line in the Los Angeles Rams, the Detroit Lions are going to screw up on some of those fourth downs, and the Rams are going to take advantage of those failed fourth downs, and they're going to get rolling up and down the field. I don't believe in the Lions defense, even though they do have Aiden Hutchinson. Their defense is suspect for the most part. There is a reason why the Lions defense has been getting torched in the passing game a lot. I expect Matthew Stafford to find big plays to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I think the Rams are going to put up points on the board. I think the Rams are going to get enough stops on defense where you can say the Los Angeles Rams are going to beat the Detroit Lions. I understand the Detroit Lions, this is supposed to be their year, but as good as they've been, they've sometimes lost games this year because they shot themselves in the foot. Look at the Packers game for an example, where they failed on fourth down repeatedly and turned over the football too much, or the game against the Chicago Bears where they struggled in the cold. Obviously, this game is going to be in the dome, so weather is not going to be a factor in this game. I think Jared Goff, he's going to throw for a touchdown. Maybe he'll throw an interception at the end of the game or a failed fourth down, something like that, but I think the difference in this game is going to be, can the Lions convert those fourth downs? And I don't think the Lions are going to convert those fourth downs against the Los Angeles Rams, because the Rams defense has been sneaky good this year. I think Matthew Stafford is going to get big plays in the passing game, while Jared Goff is going to get a decent amount of yards, but nothing too big for the Detroit Lions. And I think big plays matter a lot come playoff time. That's the difference between good quarterbacks and mediocre quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback, while Jared Goff is just sometimes a good quarterback, but sometimes he can be mediocre whenever his team isn't rolling. Remember, Jared Goff is dependent on how well his offensive coordinator calls plays. If the offensive coordinator is having a good day calling the plays, well, Jared Goff is going to look like a good quarterback. But if Jared Goff has an offensive coordinator that doesn't have his A game going in terms of his offensive play calling, well, he's not going to look good on the day. So obviously, I think Jared Goff is going to play solid. I think he's going to be fine, but I think he's going to learn that you can't convert those fourth downs come playoff time. And when you can't convert those fourth downs in playoff time, they're going to make you pay, the opponent that is. And I think the Los Angeles Rams are going to score more points than the Detroit Lions. I got the score being 30-23 Rams, so I got the Rams scoring 30. I got the Lions scoring 23. I think it's going to be a good game. It's not necessarily going to be back and forth, but I think it's going to be close throughout the first half, but then the Rams start to pull away come the second half. I think Matthew Stafford is going to have a big game in Detroit. He's going to throw for over 300 yards, and he's going to outplay Jared Goff in the playoffs, and he's going to show the Los Angeles Rams why they had to go acquire Matthew Stafford instead of sticking with Jared Goff at the quarterback position. So that is why Jared Goff will not be able to get his revenge on the Rams, as the Lions will end up losing to the Rams by the score of 30-23. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm gonna shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more of Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.